All right, here we go. The watch list for March 1st should be Tuesday. The SPY, another red day. So up, it kind of broke through the top of a range. I like to see this come in for a couple days. I don't make any predictions on where it's going, but I feel a little bit better, going long intraday after a couple days down. So let's just look at what we have here for the watch list. GSI originally called this at like 123 today. Ended up closing at 157. This one I said might gap and be a second day runner. So that's why it's on watch, because it's extremely low float, a nice little breakout. And you can see what it did back here. So it's capable, right? So we're going to watch that for a second day play. ENOC had it on bounce watch today. I never did take a trade in it. It gave a decent setup, but I didn't catch it. I was off doing something else, trading something else. So I want to watch this one. I like the fact he had the big pop. As I said, after a red day, sometimes the third day goes again. It didn't quite go again, but you've got last 2 days, 642, and today, 643. So if you get up over this 2-day high, could easily take out this 659 and maybe start to make a run up here at the 200-day or this recent high. So I like the chart setup on this ENOC a lot. Might need to consolidate for a few days, but it could also go tomorrow. It depends. TMST, I've had my eyes on for a couple weeks, and it's still really flagging. You can kind of use that green line as a the candle top measure, right? And then this over 8 kind of gets interesting. You have a lower high here of 831, another one lower high here of 863. And when I say lower highs, I mean after this initial pop. Anytime you get a big spike like this and then you start flagging, generally you look for a flag break to at least test this. And if you get over this high, it could really squeeze. So I like this TMST a lot. And steels have been pretty strong, as I just showed you with GSI. Okay, we can look at U.S. steels kind of trying to break out here. AKS is fairly strong too, so I do like this. I got a couple steel stocks on watch. I didn't realize that. GSI and TMST. So let's watch this one. Looking at 5-minute candles, kind of flagged near the end of the day, and the market closed pretty weak. So these are pretty interesting. Want to watch this one for a potential long setup. Honeywell, HON, is interesting to me because it had really nice support back here off $100, and now you're a couple days lower. You pierce through the 200-day. Go to 5-minute candles. You can see it closed. It was starting to accelerate to the downside, so it closed fairly weak. If this continues in the morning, I'm going to look for a reversal setup right around $100. So, and sometimes it'll push clear through that, and then you can catch a reversal down lower. But I always try to make it an intraday candlestick setup or something along those lines. I don't just randomly take it at 100. But let's keep our eyes on that HON. EYES, no trades today, just another red day, right? You had this big 2-day pop, and now you're 4 days lower, declining volume. That one might just turn back up now that it's hit the 20-day. So let's watch EYES again. EYEG, I'll get that big spike out of there. You can kind of see it a little better that way. So you had a nice run on EYEG back here, and then a lower high here, 2-day run that went to 420. Then you had a lower high here at 380 and a nice little breakout. I wish I'd have had it on watch today and maybe caught it over this base break, but you can see even with this pop, 133,000 in volume today. So pretty thin stock. I'm glancing real quick at the float. It looks like 7.5 million, so a tiny float. And I don't see a headline from today, but I do like this. You can picture a nice possible trend line break. This one might need to relax for a day or two, right? But you can picture this trend line here. So if it gets over this, which was 380, today's high 360, but it closed at its highs, it could easily maybe come up here and hit 4, take out this, and then really break out. So let's watch EYEG. Let's go back to the daily here. So that one's interesting. All right, EYEG. Weight Watchers. I want to watch Weight Watchers. A nice little bounce today. Now, I'm not bullish on this chart. It's pretty beaten up, but at the same time, ever since the Oprah gap, right, it held the 200-day. When it finally rolled over and came down to 200-day, pierced it here, but really right back through it again. And now gap down, and the 200-day is really supporting this thing. So it could be up from here. I think it's worth having on watch, Weight Watchers. Remember, I'm a day trader, so I'm just going to look for intraday setups, and I'll be in cash before the close. EROS, nice little pop today. Just going to look for a follow through on that one. Second day play. All right, it's got nice support below now, so that one's worth watching. And then LL Lumber Liquidators. I called this late in the day because it's pretty beaten up and gapped down. And I called it when it looked about, it was almost up to 1080. I put out the alert 1080, 1070. It broke the high of the day and then actually filled that gap and then some. So that was a nice little way to end the day. The reason I have it on watch again is because this might represent, I don't want to say an all-time bottom. I don't want to make that call, but it might represent a near-term bottom. With the gap down, it's had a lot of bad news, and the formaldehyde-laced wood, or whatever you want to call it, from China, they're suffering from that, but they also don't use that anymore. So this one could be up from here. So today might have marked a bottom. So I'll look for some follow-through in that bounce tomorrow, all right? I'm going to leave it at that. Have a great rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.